So we are going to have a question and answer session after the presentations, and we also have Post-it notes where people can jot their questions down and we can kind of organize and assemble them. I would like for us to keep going. If one of the board members could take the Post-it notes around, if people have a specific question, they could jot it down and we'll collect them and we'll use that for the question and answer session. I would like Bonnie and Sean to come up on stage. We were very fortunate to have divers available for when we did the testing on Lake Beulah. And we thought it was very important for you guys to hear from them directly what they experienced, what they felt, and what they saw. So,
You might be blocking.
okay, I'll back up, I'm not important. And I'm gonna give Bonnie the microphone because I'll just speak loud. I'm just gonna ask some questions. First off, if you guys could tell us a little bit about your background and why you volunteered for this particular project.
Well, I got certified as a diver in 1985 when I was on the fire department with Rich. We were first, I don't like speaking in public, so sorry. So we went on to, we were born and raised in East Troy. And so I went on as a diver with East Troy Fire Department, went on, became a rescue diver, blah, 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 camera diver, all that stuff. Now we are dive masters, and Rich reached out to us and asked us if we would volunteer to dive for you guys to see what's happening. I dove Lake Beulah a lot when I was younger, right off Ma and Pa Faust Pier, a lot, and dove in Booth Lake, Lulu Lake. So they asked us to dive. Well, you're gonna see some results that we saw, and it's pretty amazing. We had a wakeboard boat. We had a 21-foot Super Aeronautique. We loved it, beautiful boat. We noticed the damage it was doing, so we stopped. We sold it. It was a very expensive float for us to go sit and launch and just swim off of. So we sold it. So we really believe in these lakes. We love these lakes. Like I said, I was born and raised in East Troy. My parents ran Booth Lake, which is what we're running right now. My dad was the police chief with Rich Kuchenbecker. So we have a lot of ties to East Troy, and we want to see these lakes thrive. So I'll leave her speak. She's a better speaker right now.
Bonnie Morath. I grew up on Booth Lake as well. Still swam my whole life there. My dad lived on Lake Beulah, so we spent my whole childhood and adult life on these lakes. They've changed a lot, and you've seen a lot of changes, I'm sure, if you've been looking at the lakes. My experience in diving, I haven't been diving as long as Sean, but I also am a dive master. We dive all over, freshwater, saltwater, as much as we can, and we do a lot of photography when we do that, mostly me. So it's something, when Rich asked us to come out, it was something that is close to our heart. These lakes mean a lot to us, and we're definitely seeing a lot of changes in the lakes themselves. Like Sean said, we run Booth Lake Beach. We've seen changes in the water quality there, the clarity, the amount of fish life that's near the shore. There's no crayfish, there's no clams, there's none of the things, the bullfrogs, all the things that we used to see in that lake, they're not there. So we're really interested in seeing what's going on. So that's why we agreed to dive and see for ourselves the effects that these boats are having, because we could see it from the surface, as Terra Vigila said, and we wanted to see for ourselves underneath the boat what was going on.
So do that. Describe to us what happens when a wake boat goes over the top of you and you're down under that water.
Well, we were shocked. The first pass they made, we could see all the bubbles coming up as the boat's coming. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. Why are we seeing all these bubbles coming up out of the weeds and the sediment? As the boat went past us, we could feel a down thrust. So it would drop us down, and then as it passed, it would lift us back up. And then a couple seconds later, you'd see the muck, you'd see the weeds come past us. You'll see one of our videos. It was a real weird feeling. You don't, me personally, I didn't expect to get pushed down and then sucked right back up. The first pass was made. We had safety divers behind us, like 10 feet watching us. We went ahead, we stayed away, and then the second run, we told Rich, we're like, if you feel comfortable, we're gonna put up our buoy, get as close as you can to it. Well, he went over the top of us, and you'll see a shadow, and then you're gonna see prop wash. And after that prop wash goes by, we go down, we come up, and then you're gonna see all this sediment come right past us. We're not stirring anything up. This is all the boat. And I'm gonna show my dive computer, and it's gonna say I'm at 16 feet. Well, I'm 2 feet off the bottom. So you're gonna see that.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll take a look at the video that he's describing.
Play that right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you can play sound with that, but the sound, I think would help.
So here he's showing his watch, that his watch is at 16 feet.
When the boat comes over, it's like if you've ever been near a road when a lot of
This is the first pass. He doesn't go right over us the first one. We asked him to go on the next one.
that red is the lens cap for the camera.
That's us getting pushed down and coming up, trying to get our balance again. You can see we just scanned to see what happened in the weeds. You'll hear him circling around. You can see some sediment coming up. He was probably about 10 feet from us when this went over. You're gonna see, he's gonna come right over the top. You're gonna see a shadow, you're gonna see white, and then you're gonna watch.
What I was going to say earlier is it feels like when a group of motorcycles goes by you and you can feel the rumble, that's what it feels like underneath there. We feel all of that.
And you can see all the little fish just swimming around. And here he comes. You see a shadow. There's the shadow. There's the prop wash. We go down, and this comes blowing past us. And we're trying to get our bearings again. And we're 2 feet off the bottom. And then you'll see me swim like 10 feet over. There's my safety diver, and then we hit the surface. So there's a lot of damage. And like I said, that's at like 18 feet. So
Yeah, the wake surf industry is saying nothing happens below 10 feet. You can see here, it does.
I have a question. How did the fish react?
They move away. They move away temporarily and then they kind of
Okay.
come back. And you'll see that one of the videos that I'll talk about, you see that happen.
Play the next one.
Should we play the next video right away, or?
Sure.
Get out of the way.
So I think in this video is one of the ones that I took, and we just see a lot of sediment disruption and stuff in this boat, or in this video again, as the boat goes over. You could see the prop wash there as it went through the screen. You see the bubbles come up out of the weeds. Again, I'm probably 10 to 12 feet off to the side of where he went over. You just kind of see everything start to move around a little bit. Try to show, but my watch is not, I don't know what's going on with it. But this again was at that 16-foot mark. Sean and I were about 120 feet apart, and he had his safety diver, and then my safety diver was back behind me about 4 feet above me.
And I was up above in the pontoon boat, and some of those weeds, the real long, stocky ones, were getting dislodged and were floating on the surface. There was about 20 of them that were floating around me just from those couple of passes. So you imagine if that's happening all day long.
So this next video is, I think, a little bit clearer, and there's a lot more fish life around me in this video. Again, I'm sitting on top of the taro weed. I'm sitting about 14 feet of water. You see Rich go over, you see the prop wash, you see the bubbles, you see everything. It's the second pass that really has the impact on this one. He gets a little bit closer to me. You see a lot of change. Here I'm swimming out in, you can see the V's made by the prop wash as it came down in the weeds. Now keep in mind, this is 2 passes. It's not a lot of time over us, but the damage is already there. There's a shadow of the boat. Again, there's not a lot of sediment here. The weed cover is fairly thick. There's a plume of stuff that's been pulled out of the surface of the lake. Definitely a big change in the water clarity.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the first day that we went out, you only did 1 dive, and you immediately went up and said, we're done in this spot because there was a whiteout, because we were in an area where there wasn't as many weeds. Can you say a little bit about what that was like and the amount of turbulence?
I think that was an area we were at 25 feet deep, so we were down below the thermocline. The thermocline, throughout all of the times that we dove, the thermocline stayed at about 19 to 20 feet. So at 25 feet where we were below the thermocline. And if you don't know what the thermocline is, it's above the thermocline in the summer is much warmer water. I think the water was between 74 and 79 the times that we dove. When you get below the thermocline, the water temperature was about 62. So it's a big temperature difference. And at the thermocline, there's a big, it's where the warm water and the cold water meet. And so it's like a viscous water. You can see the thermocline as you go through it. And below the thermocline, you don't see the surface as well. And so we noticed a difference in the prop wash and the things below the thermocline, but we still saw a difference, and that's where we were on that first dive. And there's a lot of sediment release, and it caused a silt out, is what we call it in diving. It happens when the bottom gets disrupted and all the silt lifts off, and it got real dark and we couldn't see each other at all. So we came up and we said, we're done here.
Yeah, they went by, and the one pass, they went by. I had my safety diver behind me. I couldn't even see him anymore. It went through, and it was like you walk into a cave with no lights. You couldn't see this. So we call it silt out. You see a lot of that if you're get into a wreck or whatever and the fins hit the sidewall and that, it'll silt you out. We couldn't see anything. They caught it on live scope. We came up and we were just like, we can't do anything. It's a waste of time.
So everything that we've been talking about so far has been their experience with the Wake surf mode, surfboat in surf mode. But we also tested a tri-tune with a fairly large motor, an indoor-outdoor, a jet ski,